Hi, everybody. This is Karen Anderson with Aortic Hope, type A and B dissection survivor. And we are all coming to you today live for our very first week in review, which is not scripted. I mean, it's scripted, but we're going to just shoot off the cuff and we're going to talk about it. We think this brings you a little bit more of our live personalities, just having an opportunity to chat with you. And if you have any comments or questions or thoughts, we can actually engage with those as well online. So we are going to get right into what we put up last week on our Facebook page. And this is really for those of you that are not on Facebook, that you'll have an opportunity to see some of the educational posts and some of the fun posts and thought-provoking posts that we put up in the community. And you'll have an opportunity to engage with us with that as well. So take it away, Greg. You can start us off with Monday.
Okay, so here we are. Like Karen said, it's the week in review, and we're starting off with Monday, which would be August 2nd. So it's the week of August 2nd. And we start off with Medical Monday. And it's a new month and a perfect time to talk about how to prepare for new doctor appointments or follow-up appointments. In the article attached to this video, how to prepare for a doctor's appointment from the National Institute on Aging, the following items are discussed. 1, you want to make a list and prioritize your concerns. 2, take information with you to your doctor. 3, keep your doctor up to date. 4, be sure you can see and hear as well as possible. And 5, if you need an interpreter, please request one. A basic plan can help you make the most of your appointment, whether you're starting with a new doctor or continuing with the doctor you've seen for years. The following tips in this article will make it easier for you and your doctor to cover everything you need to talk about. I will start a little bit about this. I think it's very important to have a second set of ears when we go to the doctor because we naturally tune out a little bit the second that we might hear news that we're not 100% happy with or something that's scary. And I want to know how you ladies feel about it, Karen and Tammy.
Tammy, you've got appointments this week, so why don't you take this away?
Yes, I have a whole week full of appointments. I always take somebody with me, usually my husband or my mother or my sister. I used to start writing my questions out on scrap piece of papers, and I finally realized that I really needed a little notebook that I could always have with me because I might be in the grocery store and think, oh, I need to ask that question. And I realized I couldn't remember it later. And so I have a page for each of my doctor appointments coming up, and I write down my questions. And it really does help. The other thing that I do has made a big difference for me is when I feel like I'm being overwhelmed with my doctor's appointments, I just will white out or highlight a few days on my calendar. And I know that I'm not going to schedule any appointments on, say, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the last week of the month. And in my mind, that just gives me a little bit of peace of mind that I know that I don't have to schedule appointments those days. And I don't tell them why. I just say, oh, I'm not available that day, because people will get irritated with you. When I was first diagnosed and came home from the hospital, I actually highlighted an entire week and said I will not have any doctor's appointments that week. And it was really good for my mental health to do that. So that's how I've handled it.
I love that idea of just whiting out some time, scheduling some time where you won't schedule doctor's appointments. Well, I'll tell you, for me, that I've become very spoiled. I mean, for people that are like us with our medical conditions, I now realize why our doctors always run late, because they're spending a lot of time with patients like us, as they should. So I think, number one, my doctor's appointments should be on average about 45 minutes because there's a lot of information to discuss. Sometimes it's shorter because everything's great, but I've now come to expect a certain level of care from all doctors. So I just met a new doctor last week, completely unrelated. It was an orthopedic doctor. And not only did he not see me because he said I came at the wrong time, and I'm telling you, I came at the right time. They sent me a text. It said, be here at 1 o'clock. I was there at 12:50. So happy that I got there early. And they said, no, you were supposed to be here at 10. I said, no. I know I didn't screw that up. And I showed it to them. he would not give me the time of day. And so I went through with the appointment, which maybe I was there 10 minutes, and I already went and found a new doctor, because I need people that are going to take time with me. I need to be able to convey what I'm feeling, understand what the plan of care is. I think a lot of times doctors, which are just regular people like us, do have their blinders on, and they get used to their routine, bring them in, take care of it, move them out. And they forget that we look at ourselves as, they're the first person we're seeing of that day that takes care of us. And so we're just one of many of that day. So you almost have to empower yourself to be your best advocate. Come prepared with the questions like the article said. And if you go into that article, you'll see other tips and ways to really prepare. I think for your 45 minutes that you pay for, this is your time. Take advantage of it. Set yourself up for success.
I've learned so much from Aortic Hope and speaking to other survivors. And one of the first things I learned when I met Karen and the other survivors, I've had 2 open heart surgeries for repairs. And my first surgeon would not follow up with me. I saw him 6 weeks after my emergency surgery. He patted me on my head, told me he had saved my life, go live my life, everything was wonderful. And I found out that that's the old way of doing things, that the surgeon should be following up with you, and you should be checking in with them every once in a while, not necessarily every 6 months, but at least a year. And the other thing I just learned from Karen is I've been going to see a vascular surgeon. And, that's another appointment that I've been following up on. And my surgeon and my cardiologist have a vascular surgeon on their team if they feel that I need to see that person. So I don't need to have that appointment anymore. But that's aortic. One of the biggest things that I have benefited from Aortic Hope is learning how to navigate this entire maze of doctors and appointments and information. So yes, thank you.
I would like to add one more thing, just from the standpoint, because in a lot of cases, when we bring someone, we think of it as our partner or their primary caregiver. A lot of the times they can be as overwhelmed as we are from hearing the bad news. They're going through that with us. So I would not rule out, if you have a close friend that you're comfortable with knowing, taking that close friend and letting them be your ears, because a lot of the times that very close loved one is going through the same emotional punch that you're going through, that when you might get bad news or less than ecstatic news. So that's the one thing that I would like to add to it, just because I do believe so strongly, and you should have that second set of ears. But if it's going to be 2 of you that are gut punched and no one's really listening, it kind of defeats the purpose of that second set.
So for all of you out there that are live with us, feel free to hit us with some comments about maybe some suggestions on what you do when you're preparing for your doctor's appointment, or if you're seeing this on video after liking and subscribing to our page, go ahead and feel free to add the comments as well. We'd love to see them and share them with the Facebook community too. All right, Greg, I think we're moving on to Topic Tuesday. I like it when you read. Please.
Okay, I guess I will read them again. It's Topic Tuesday. That's what we're up to. And a question had been posed: how much of our identity is tied up in our disability or our relationship with our disability? To begin to even process this, we must define disability. Disability is a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movements, senses, or activities. Now, not everyone in our community with aortic disease has been left with a disability. But for those of us who have been significantly affected by aortic disease or its repercussions, what is your relationship between yourself and your disability? Some in the community prefer the term less able over disabled. Whenever possible, try to flip the script, and it may change your mindset. The article attached below is from the disabled world, called Psychological and Social Aspects of Disability. It was written by Wendy Charmino Weiss, and it really breaks down the stages of self in a relationship to disability.
So I took a look and I read this article, and I read it actually more than once. And part of the things that I personally took away with it, and I'm going to quote one small section, was that people who experience a disability for the first time tend to undergo stress. They cope with life transitions, value changes, and experience disability issues across their lifespan. And this can be from sociological perspective. People who experience disability for the first time also have to deal with the change of their role within their family. And one of the interesting things that they said is there's quite a few stages of going through these changes, and most of these are the 4 basic stages of grief, ironically. And so people tend to feel shock, denial. Of course, I did not write down all the other 2, but bargaining, right, exactly.
And acceptance.
But there's as many as 12. I did not even know that there were 12, but they have here shock, anxiety, bargaining, denial. So those are your top 4. Mourning, which we often talk about, depression, withdrawal, internalized anger, externalized aggression, acknowledgement, acceptance, and adjustment. And I think
each one of those serve a purpose.
They do.
And what I've always believed is it's fine to experience each one of those. It's when you get stuck in one of those that you have to be concerned.
Right. And I really love the idea of looking at things as less abled. Prior to my dissection, I went to my very first support group meeting for Crohn's disease, and I had never been to one before. I'd had Crohn's for many, many years, almost 2 decades when I finally went. And it was very hard to sit in these meetings and listen to people talk about, we have a disability, it's part of the ADA, here's some disability cards. And I struggled for many years accepting that I have a disability, because I worked full time, I functioned, I was sick, but I worked. So I think it was the definition of disability that really changed. And then when I had my dissection, I thought, well, if that was disabled, what am I now? What can I possibly be now? So what I realized is I don't view myself as disabled. I truly do view myself as less able in certain areas, and quite frankly, more able in other areas. And maybe it's just part of this woke generation. I'm going to use that term, woke. I have just become much more aware of certain things and looking at it in a different way. But I will openly admit I went through all of those emotions, and I think it's the healthiest thing. Greg, you actually talk a lot about all of that in relationship to 2.0. Maybe you can talk about that now.
Yeah, I see. It's difficult for me, and what's weird for me is that as crippling as my dissection was and what it created, the irony was that I handled it relatively okay, I feel. I had this new idea of this Greg 2.0, and, there's some changes, but I accepted. I hate new normal. Anyone that's ever heard me talk about it, because there's nothing normal about what we go through. But it is a new reality. And that's tough. Where the punch came for me was my dissection caused my amputations. And that was where I really felt like the idea of a physical disability, because that changed the scope of everything. It didn't make a difference what my dissection was or what my stamina was, because my feet can only carry me so far before the legs and the feet hurt and are exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And that took a lot of my idea of self as far as sports and athletics and being active. I mean, all that kind of went by the wayside with that amputation. So it's a constant battle of really, and I like what you said about, as far as flipping the script and changing perspective. I think that's huge. Less abled or differently abled as opposed to disabled.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really how you have to look at it. I don't even like really so much less able. I do think it's much better than disabled, but I like the idea of differently abled, because I have to do things differently.
Really?
The one thing, though, that you touched upon for a lot of us is a lot of people in this community did not go back to work. And a lot of the stress that comes with this, and a lot of the grief and anxiety comes because of changing dynamics, whether it be in your household, what can be done, and what's this. And a lot of the times, who the breadwinner might be changed, who's doing the majority of work outside the household, whether or not you can keep up with the interior cleaning and work that needs to be done inside the household. And I think that that is where a lot of the mental struggle comes, is just accepting those new roles.
There was something I posted the other day about extreme independence. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read it, but basically what it says is, in a nutshell, and it didn't say this, but I'm paraphrasing, is having extreme independence can ultimately cause almost some degree of cognitive irrationality about your life. Now, if having extreme independence can happen from your childhood, from childhood abuse, from parents who you viewed at that time might have abandoned you or left the home, a physical ailment or trauma that changed, like you were just saying, who you are in the dynamic of your home in your day to day. And it forces you to be this person that said, I don't need anybody's help. I'm not going to ask for any help. I'm going to do it all on my own. And that is not a rational reaction, though it happens. It's not going to serve you well. And I must have read that quote a few times too, because it really hit home that was always me. I was a single parent for so long. I made very good living at my job. Nobody needed for anything, and I would do it all on my own. And then this dissection hit, and unlike the Crohn's, I couldn't do anything without having help. And that really went on for quite a few years, couple years in the beginning. And I think I struggle with that concept of my husband. I've said this to you guys before. If all you have is 10% to give in a day, that's okay. Just put 100% of your effort into the 10. He said, if you're down and you have nothing, I've got it. I've got you. Like, just let me know by 6 p.m. if you're not cooking so I can make dinner for us. And it's trusting your partner, your family, your friends, and allowing yourself to be that vulnerable and realizing that is not a shortcoming. That is what your body needs. And everybody has moments where they need to give that up to somebody else, right? And just say, hey, I could really use your help. And that's not a sign of weakness. That's actually one of the most strongest and empowering things you can do for yourself, I think, is to reach out.
So I think you just hit the nail on the head with that. And it's really a question of feeling too vulnerable to be dependent on that other person. And I think that especially some of us with that personality of being independent and, I can handle this and I'm strong and I'm this, that's a real struggle.
Yeah. Tammy?
When everything changes and you're used to rising to a certain level, no matter how you're feeling that day, whatever, and you're able to push yourself through for a typical work day or whatever your responsibilities are within your family or whatever. Before a dissection, I feel like we all have that way of pushing yourself through. But if you push yourself through after a dissection and you're still in that recovery period, it's really detrimental. So there's a learning process of self-care, I guess it would be. And the thing that's been the most surprising to me is how different each day can look. And one day I can be up and, I can go out, I can walk 45 minutes, I can cook meals, I have enough wherewithal to do a checkbook, pay some bills, take care of household businesses. And then other days, like you said, that's my 10% day. And I'm not going to hit that level and I can't push myself to do it. Yep. And that's been a big change. Anybody that's been in the working world or caring for a family or whatever your responsibilities are, there's that thing in you that just pushes you to keep going. And you can't necessarily do that after you've had such a medical intervention.
Right. So before we go on to Therapeutic Thursday, I want to tell everybody in the community, in case somehow they missed it, one of the things that Tammy and I got to do last week, which fell in this time period, was we were invited to watch a really great fundraiser take place. So Deborah and John Parsley, who are part of the community, they have a very big extended family. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I know Tammy, you and I in our memories, they had, this was their 50th year of having a huge family reunion. And 8 years ago, they lost a family member to ALS. And so they started having cornhole tournaments, and they would raise funds and give those funds to ALS on the beach in Ocean City, Maryland. And then a couple years ago, they lost a family member to leukemia. And ironically enough, this May, John survived a dissection, which I cannot believe, because you talk about how we always say you look so good. I was walking over like a shell at the time frame that he's in right now. But so they were having this cornhole tournament in honor of him and donating the funds to Aortic Hope. So this is my first time watching a tournament of beanbag tossing, which that's what I always thought it was. I still don't understand firmly the scoring. Although I saw it on TV the other night, they were having this like countrywide cornhole championships, and oh my God, I didn't know it was actually made it on TV, but anyway, so we were allowed to go, and it was just wonderful. There was way over 100 people there, and they had brackets and
children.
They had children's tournament. So I just want to give a shout out to that. That was really lovely, and it's always special when the community rallies behind Aortic Hope and decides to throw a fundraiser, which you can always do and contact us and we'll help you. But this was lovely, and it was great to see people gather in honor of their family member. So I just want to throw that in, that happened on Tuesday of last week. So.
And I think that's a great segue into what our Therapeutic Thursday is.
Right.
Right. Which this Therapeutic Thursday is all about the fact that it's the beginning of a new month and a new opportunity for you to connect with others within the aorta community. If you click on the link that'll be included below, you may review some of the many Facebook groups and nonprofit organizations that work hard to help provide you with support, education, and resources pertaining to aortic disease. And obviously, you can go to our website, which is aortichope.org, and it's all listed in the resources, which the link will probably take you to. But even if you don't click the link, you can find it there. But I think that is, to me, that's the biggest thing. Now, we're part of this group, Aortic Hope. All three of us, me, Tammy, and Karen, are all board members. Karen's the founder. But I think it's important to point out that there are a lot of groups and a lot of people that are all striving and working towards the same goal. And I'm going to be honest with you, Karen and I and Tammy don't care if you find solace on another page. We just want you to find the solace.
Right.
And I think that's the most important thing for me.
There are many groups on Facebook and on the web that are dedicated solely to Marfan syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos, Loewy-Dietz research, and we're one of the few nonprofits such as Aortic Warriors, Rock from the Heart. Everybody's aware of the John Ritter Foundation, and each of us have our own niche in certain things. And our niche is to be that post-diagnosis patient advocacy group, and we do it in a variety of different ways. What you're going to find on this list of resources are the lists of all of the Facebook pages that we've been able to find. It's not complete. There are a few that may or may not be on there because there's always some new ones popping up, but these are ones that we have found to be very interactive, that the moderators and admins try to curtail any blow-ups as much as they can around religious, political, and also medical advice. Medical advice is not something you want to take from strangers on a Facebook page. All of these pages, including our private forum, our grief-only private forum, and our caregiver-only private forum, are meant to give you talking points. So throw out any kind of questions you want, but then take the answers and the advice that you're ultimately going to be given, and don't apply it to yourself. But if it's medical, take it to start that conversation with your doctor. If something resonates with you and you want to do research, do it for yourself. We are not medical professionals, and so we try to scan our pages as well to make sure that happens as little as possible. But all of the organizations that are 501c3 nonprofits work very, very hard for you through your donations to bring all of their services and initiatives to the community. That's what we do. That is our Thursday. What are we up to on Friday, Greg?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up. For this given week, it was our first Friday fundraiser.
Oh, yeah.
Aortic Hope wants to remind you about our Hope Shops, featuring some awesome swag that you can purchase just in time for September and Aortic Disease Awareness Month. It's a great conversation starter to raise awareness. And here are some of the items that we currently have in our spring shop and our cafe press shop. And we're highlighting a lot of our summer-oriented items. The water bottle, the towels, another water bottle, tote bag. Great use for the beach.
There's 3 different logos. So that's we have our traditional original logo with the 3 hearts. We have the I've Got Hope, which is considered our retro logo. And then we have the newest one was Aorta Keep Fighting, which has the EKG symbol and the heart in the middle. But on our page, on our website through the Hope Shops, you'll also find a link to be able to get our car magnet, which has the aortic disease awareness ribbon on it. Tammy's highlighting right now where you can purchase where you can get with a donation our seatbelt covers. We have some masks. There's a lot of stuff. But the key is you want to grab your swag now because we're going to have some contests in September where we're going to want to see some of that swag, and that's going to give you extra raffle tickets. So tell them all about September, Greg, because that's coming and that's why we did this.
Yeah. So anybody that's in the aorta community for the last couple of years knows that September 19th was a big day. It was Aortic Dissection Awareness Day. However, there is a lot more than just dissection to aortic disease. And we kind of started to coin the term Aortic Disease Awareness Month. That came out of the fact that it also happened to be, I think it was Thoracic Aneurysm Month initially was September, and then we put Dissection Day was the 19th, whatever. Anyway, we framed it as the month. The whole month was going to cover stuff so that we could talk about topics about aortic disease, ranging from anything, intact aneurysms, dissections, valves, any sort of stuff that involves the aorta. And as I keep saying, I think it's important that we, that we use that month to highlight stuff. And then the importance of where the swag comes in, and we've all seen it. We've seen stories shared, like Aortic Hope Ambassador Carmen David striking up a conversation recently at Disney. But it promotes discussion. And I think that's the most important thing, because you will not believe how many people have potentially been touched by this, but don't really discuss it.
Right.
Or they're not really talking about it, even in the ideas of their family. And we want it regularly discussed because it gets to earlier diagnosis and better outcomes.
Well, that just leads into hashtag Think Aorta, Think Family, which is why we're all always thinking aorta, which is really kind of at the top of this food chain. But Tammy and I talk about swag. We had it imprinted on our arms. I don't know if you guys can see that. No, I'm not doing it very good. There it is. Yeah, yours is upside down. We went and we got henna tattoos, which I'm now realizing I have to go away with my husband in September. I'm thinking it's still going to be on my arm then, unless I scrub it off. But we did. We had people ask us, what is this logo? What does this mean? Talk to us about it. So it wasn't just at the event. And I get stopped often when I'm wearing my shirt. And I've had somebody stop me once or twice in the parking lot because of the magnet. And so knowing that this can happen to anybody, this is the perfect time during Aortic Disease Awareness Month. Grab your swag and start that conversation today or next month. And then, of course, you'll have a chance at better prizes, opportunities, twin prizes, something like that. Isn't this fun going live?
I actually like it. I like us talking about this as opposed to just reading whatever it was, because I think that's important. I think why we chose to post it in the first place comes out a little bit more because we're actively discussing
the relevance of it. how relevant it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the relevancy of it.
Yeah, the first Friday has always just became a First Friday fundraiser. I mean, honestly, if you have almost 3,600 followers and everybody gave $5, like we say, thanks a latte, if they gave up their Starbucks, that would be a great amount of money that was donated. So that's how that came to be. But there is some rhyme or reason between what we pick. And I think it tends to go with, and Betsy Leopold is in charge of the majority of these posts that happen. She's 100% in charge of your daily quotes, but the thought process is, what are we hearing and seeing on the pages? What are we hearing and seeing in response to our videos online? What is the pulse of the community? So we aren't putting things out there that solely benefit us in a monetary way. They benefit us because helping others helps us, because we walk the walk and we talk the talk and walk the walk with you. But there is rhyme or reason. If a brand new article pops out, which a lot of times you'll find that on Dissection Life, Kevin Songer's page, he is just on it with the new articles. Every time he comes up with something, I think, what kind of Google search does he have set up?
I'm pretty sure Google calls him directly. Like, listen, we're about to put up a post. Here you go.
They're not going to score. Yeah. I'm like, God, that's a fabulous article. Well, now I can't post it. You just post it. But yeah, so we kind of all work together that way, but that gives you a little bit of mindset in that. So it's Friday. So Sunday, technical difficulties on our Sunday post. Well, Saturday was a Survivor series, so you will see that up there. But Sunday on Facebook was all about Amram. But really, more importantly, I really want to make sure we share with the community this event that is coming now, which we don't have that up because it didn't make it to the website yet, but it'll be up. It's probably in upcoming fun events. If it isn't, then there was a technical difficulty. It was not that I forgot to post it. I'm assure you. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, on basically the post was that we were very excited to let you know that we're participating in the 2021 Aortic Bridge Awareness Walk that is happening across the Brooklyn Bridge on Saturday, September 18th. And this is so great because they couldn't do it obviously last year because of COVID, but everyone is meeting in Cadman Plaza Park in Brooklyn. And then patients and survivors and caregivers and medical professionals are all walking across the bridge, which is over a mile, and then turning around and walking back, which is the same over a mile. Not that that's stressing out any of us. And then everybody's meeting for lunch at the Circa Brewing Company in Brooklyn afterwards. So it's free. If you register by August 25th, that will help to ensure that you'll receive a t-shirt, which is wonderful. And in addition to that event on Sunday, there is a global meetup with Think Aorta and Think Aorta US, and Aortic Hope will also be participating in that too. So it's just so many things. That's just 2 days of September.
But it's going to be amazing to meet other survivors.
That's always
in person.
Yeah. So that's what we have happening. It's very exciting stuff. But I'm going to check in and see, do we have anybody now commenting? Any questions? Any thoughts? Okay. So I think not just yet. So I think that's it. You guys even taken a peek yet to see some of the, well, we've only had one day today. So wait till you guys see what's happening this week. I can't wait for us to talk about it next week. So it's a fun, well, and then into September, it's going to be great. Oh, it's always good stuff. It's always good, fun stuff. And now, as a community, when you see this, throw us some messages at info@aortichope.org. Give us any ideas that you might have. If there's topics you'd like us to research, things you want us to talk about, just let us know. But I will mention, Thursday, there is a live event happening with Rare Patient Voice, which we advertise. Tammy, you do most of the advertising. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Well, for the aorta, for the live, wait a minute.
Rare Patient Voice.
Rare Patient
because
Voice,
you've really gotten a lot of benefit out of it.
I found out about it, and I'm a breast cancer survivor and an aortic dissection survivor. And it's basically a website that you can go to and join, and they will let you know if they're doing any research in the areas of your medical concerns or your medical diagnosis. And sometimes I get them in the email. It's extremely easy process. They come through your email. You fill out, you just go down to the link and you answer, maybe sometimes it's like 3 or 4 questions. And they will tell you right away how long it'll take you to fill out the form. You just click mostly. And sometimes it'll say it's 20 minutes for $40, 45 minutes for $35, and you answer their questions. Sometimes the more extensive ones, you answer like maybe 40 questions, and they will ask if for like $120, $150, if you would be willing to participate in a one-on-one on the computer Zoom meeting or something like that, and answer questions in person. And those the ones I participated in have mostly had to do with things like how you receive your medications, how to streamline that. I did one about instead of going to chemo every week for 12 weeks, would I have been comfortable giving myself an injection at home if that had been on the market with the same results? You know, real in-depth questions. Very, very easy. And then a check arrives in the mail. I didn't have to do anything to make sure that that check arrived, but it's very easy. So I would encourage you to do that.
And you get $5 just for signing up.
Just for signing up, you get $5. Right.
And so, Aortic Hope does get a small little bit of money for every time somebody signs up. I'm not sure if we get it every time you participate, but
you have a voice. It gives you a voice in what's happening in research.
Right. And it can be anonymous or not, depending on how far you go.
Right. Yes.
Right. So that's coming up this Thursday evening. And you can check out all the events on our website underneath the events section. But that's this week, you guys. We survived. We did really, really good.
Yes, we did.
Look how we didn't screw up here, but we do when we record. I can't wait until we see our blooper
start reel. Over all the time.
That's what we need in September, a blooper reel. We need that. Would be so much fun to show in September.
Especially those early ones.
They're so good. They're so entertaining. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe below or someplace on your screen, depending on where I am right now. And we will see you same time, same place next week, Monday, 3 p.m. Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.